Welcome to the SPRTER podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Been waiting for this for a while, so That's
I know. It's been a while. I've been looking forward to it for a long period of time. Let me introduce you to our audience. We have Herbert, Herbert White III, the King of Searchers, a Guinness World Record holder of the Searcher Squad. And he's also on the SPRTER app, selling exclusive experiences there. Check out his experience store, where there's a personalized Zoom call, training with him, videos, social media collaborations, all on the app. Check out his store there. Let's get into it. Herbert, how did you start lifting and how did you become so good at it?
I started lifting just based upon my health. At an early age, I was doing a lot of overnight work. So with overnight work, a lot of the main hours, a lot of wear and tear on the body. I was doing warehouse work for a pharmaceutical company at the time. So one of the things that I noticed is like you're lifting heavy mail bags over and over again, repetitive motions. And then I started seeing people starting to break down. And one of the things with me is like, I liked sports growing up, but I never did any physical sports. I like watching them on TV and things like that. But it was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and actually sign up to a gym. So January 1st, gym special, sign up to the gym. So I didn't think that I really was just going to stick with it like this and be as dedicated as I am. But usually when I sign up for something, I stick to it. So 3 months go by, 6 months go by, a year goes by. Before you know it, I started getting into personal training. So I went out and just did my research as to which personal training certification I wanted to go after for. So I ended up picking ACE. So once I went ahead and got certified for ACE, I just went ahead and just got my feet wet more so into the gym industry. Started working at one gym, and I was just only the assistant manager there. And then I went to another gym and became the general manager. And then next thing you know, I'm actually the senior general manager. Within this time, you have no choice but to be into the gym anyway, because it's just work. You're 8 to 12. You got 4 hours to yourself. You're doing a meeting. You're talking to people at the gym, so you're just gonna keep on working out regardless. I know for me, I had different goals than everybody else. There's some people that want to go ahead and just worry about their physical health and maintaining. Me personally, I wanted to get stronger. I wanted to look better. I wanted to feel better. Telling people and motivating people is one thing. It's more so I'm a big believer of making sure that you practice what you preach. You want to go ahead, you just want to stay up and be on your best shape, so you can help other people so they can actually believe your experiences. One thing you tell people this, but I think people really believe in you when you say, like, you live by example. This is your lifestyle. This is what you have to preach, and you can stick with it. During that time, managing gyms, I was doing Spartan races. Spartan races I enjoyed. I enjoyed the atmosphere. I did the one in Citizens Bank Park. There, met a lot of people. And it's good to see that people young and old were doing stuff like that. Once I started seeing that, I was like, all right, I checked that off my list. What is going to be different for me? At the time, I was more of like a sprinter weight. So I'm probably like 185, 190 at the time. So I was like, all right, if I want to get bigger and the older I get, I know my metabolism is going to change. I need to do things that's going to help me in the long term and the longevity of things. So with the stuff that I did learn from ACE, also getting the opportunity of going to different gyms. It's one thing managing gyms, but you stay in one center of the gym. Whether it's commercial gym, and commercial gyms only have so much that you can do there. So at the time that I was working at gyms over in Central Jersey, I had the opportunity to go to gyms that are more so past Central Jersey and North Jersey. And I live in South Jersey. And one of the things I did notice from living in South Jersey to North Jersey is just the gym atmosphere. A lot of powerlifting meets, a lot of events are more towards that direction. So you want different people that are more experienced in that realm. So I was traveling in gyms up in North Jersey, traveling gyms in PA, just so I can get more experience for myself and get more of different rounds. Like, wow, you have this type of barbell here, you have these amount of weights here, you have tires here, you have so many things that I can actually work with, and just like, it has got me thinking. So when I went back to the commercial gym, it's like, all right, I know what I can learn from here what can I do that's going to help the clientele when I go to a commercial gym? As time goes by, helping out other gyms and everything like that, it was like, it's good that I'm doing the gym aspect, but the one thing for me is I needed a plan B.
Okay.
In that plan B, it's like I can go ahead and just keep on managing gyms over and over again, but what's going to help with my livelihood as I get older? It got to the point I was like, all right, I'm managing this gym, but I'm not owning it. I'm very big key of making sure it's like, all right, if I'm putting all my time and my manpower and my hours of doing what I need to do, I need to be able to reap the benefits from it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a helpful person. At the end of the day, I want to make sure that I'm benefiting not only on the physical aspect, also from the profit aspect. You know, I think a lot of times people do things and they enjoy themselves what they want to do, but it's more, okay, what's going to help benefit for me? So what I did was, instead of me focusing on clientele, let me focus on myself as an athlete. And one of the things helping myself as an athlete was having my psyche back, having that mental aspect of focusing on plan B. So what I did was I actually went back to school. I went back to school.
Okay.
Point that I actually became an IT engineer. Now, the reason why I mention this is having a balance. Balance your school, balance my training. In the down aspect of balancing my training, balancing my school, I had this idea of like, all right, what's going to help put more attention on where I'm at and as an athlete? Guinness Book of World Records. So the reason why the reason why I did Guinness Book of World Records is that I was going to these powerlifting gyms and I was going asking all this information from everybody. It's like, all right, you got a world record, but do people know who you are? It's so crazy that there's people that do powerlifting meets, do bodybuilding meets, and you talk to the average person, they don't understand the method to the madness. But to mention this book of world records, it's like it's a conversation.
Yeah.
So it just ring an idea in my head to actually go for it or whatnot, but exactly of what I'm going to do. I always want to do it as a kid. I was a real big geek when it comes to stuff like that. But I was like, what am I actually going to do? During my time of going to different gyms and learning different methods of how I train my body, I ended up learning about the Zercher squat. I never seen it before. I never done in a gym, in a commercial aspect of the gym. Like, all right, seems pretty beneficial, but I wanted more know about it. So when I did my research about it, it seemed like, okay, it's a lot of things that's going to help you out with build your cores, build your back. It's okay, it's a squat. It can also be done from the floor. It can be done from the rack. Many things that can be done to be beneficial that I didn't realize it helps a lot in real life situations.
And for our audience, could you briefly explain what the Searcher squat is?
So, of course, there's people that squat regularly on their back, whether it's a high bar squat or a low bar squat. But in this case, I'm carrying the barbell basically on the crease of where my elbow is. So you have people that have their hands like this. But what I realized is that I can get more tension when I have my hands closed like this, and I basically keep the bar close to my body. So it gets to the point that I'm wedging myself with the bar and keeping myself stable. I think a lot of times when people carry themselves like this, they're not as stable. But once I realized when I was training, keeping myself like this, I was able to go ahead and keep a decent grip of the bar.
And where is the most pressure in this squat? Obviously, it's a squat, so I would assume in the quads and the glutes, but seems like when you have the weight up front, it seems that it really actually pulls you up front as well. So where's the pressure? What type of muscles do you work in the Searcher squat?
Well, for me, from when I start, from even walking to the bar, knowing where my elbows are going to be. There's particular parts of the barbell. There's also just like a riveted part of the barbell that's in the center. There's usually two smooth parts, and there's more of a groove towards out of the other part of the bar.
Yeah.
So my arms are usually in the smooth parts of the bar. Also, too, it's more so making sure of keeping myself from my chest, keeping my back tight, and knowing where my feet are at. I think sometimes people don't know how to actually pick it up off the rack. And I just try to make sure that the same way that I power up for a squat, from a back squat perspective, it's the same way that I do from a searcher squat perspective. Feeling the nice tension of knowing like I can get my back into it, getting my arms into it, and before I go, make sure I'm driving my feet in, so when I stick with it, I can take a decent walk back. Not much of a walk back, just one step to the left, one step to the right before I go ahead and situated to actually perform the squat.
And just for context to our audience, a search like your Guinness World Record is 637.61 pounds or 289.21 kilogram for our international audience. So that's a lot of weight.
It's a lot of weight. Of course, when I first got into it, I learned pretty fast, and I went up in weight pretty fast. I'm also a decent back squatter, so I think the back squatting did help convert over to the searcher squat. It was just getting over the comfort and dumbing down the steps for me. I think sometimes people confuse the movement and in any type of aspect of lifting, instead of making it like a 5-step, sometimes people overthink it in general, make it a 3-step process for me. So when I get under it, I keep my composure, do what I need to do, and reset if possible.
That's really interesting. Now, I want to follow up on that process of how did you decide I'm going to approach the searcher squat? Was it like, hey, no one's done a searcher squat before, or is it like this is me? I am going to be honestly the king of searchers. Sounds pretty awesome. So I'm going to be the king of searchers. So that's why I'm going to approach the searcher squat. How did you decide on that? And yeah, how did you decide this is what I want to be known for?
Managing gyms, getting known in the area, whether it's South Jersey, Central Jersey, work my way up towards North Jersey. You get to build a rapport with people. You're, especially in the powerlifting aspect, you're doing the squat, you're doing the bench, you're doing the deadlift, you're doing things of that nature. But at the same time, it's like, all right, what's going to make me different from everybody else that's going to help me prepare for those? And one of those tools was a search squat. I was getting so good at it, I felt like that was like a backbone to my overall strength that helped me with everything. So it's always a good accessory movement that I still do to this day. Not as much, but it's more method to the madness compared to as when I was prepping for the Guinness Book of World Records. I was basically doing it 2 times a week, compared to maybe I'm doing it once every 2 weeks now. But being actually able to do that, it was more of like, I know I can do it, but even when I made all my stuff over to Guinness, I didn't know if there was a record for it. I didn't know about the first person to do it. But once I got my paperwork back and they gave me this number, I was like, all right, the old number was 628 pounds. So I was like, all right, I know I can beat it, but it's more about actually documenting it and getting it on tape. So once I had a step going ahead and doing that, I know I can do this. This is more so just lining my ducks in a row, being prepared, and making sure I just do the little things right.
So let's assume I want to challenge you on the world record in searcher squats in terms of the Guinness World Record. Now, how would someone, obviously I'm not going to do that, but how would someone go about registering for a Guinness World Record? What are some of the processes that you had to follow?
Some of the process that I had to follow was, once I go on the site, I had to basically submit a statement as to what record I wanted to do, how I wanted to perform it. Their feedback process, it can kind of take up to 3 months, but if I wanted to pay for it in priority, I had to pay like $1,500, which I wasn't going to do. So I had to wait basically 3 months to make sure, okay, once I submit a statement saying, hey, I want to perform the heaviest searcher squat. A searcher squat is performed when I basically put my barbell between my elbows and squat it for an attempt. This is what I use, what barbell I use. Basically write you back saying, okay, we know you want you to do this, but you got to follow these parameters. And I basically had to follow a 30-page parameter of holding myself accountable. So that day, I had and measuring every single plate, measuring the barbell, measure my body weight. Luckily, I didn't have to do that all by myself. I had a team of people out with that to make things a whole lot easier for myself. But 3 months to submit, get feedback, do the attempt, wait another 3 months to make sure that it is approved or not.
So it's quite a process.
Yes.
See, given that, I'm just not going to go for it now.
It's hilarious. I do have people that will like reach out to me overseas, and I see different types of searchers and everything like that. And of course, you know, I'm giving people the thumbs up. That's cool and everything like that. And then once I break down the actual process, it's like I didn't realize it was that much work. I was like, not just show a video and that's it. It's actually
well, yeah. Well, for me, I would probably actually struggle with the weight. So let's stop there. Now, your process is very different. Your career in sport is very different to what we generally see on people going to high school, they're competing at a high school level, then college, and so on. And I really enjoy that you've really transitioned from, hey, I just wanted to be healthy and prepare for the hard work. And from there, that led you to your athletic career, which is absolutely amazing. What is some of the motivation that kept you and still keeps you going back to the gym on such a regular basis?
Having a balance. During the week, as an IT engineer, basically working from 8:30 to 5 o'clock. And then after that, I can actually go ahead and go to my local gym from be able to perform and take care of the body, but also have. I tell people like it's one thing you're doing a lot of stuff physical, but you just want. I feel like for me, going to the gym takes care. I feel like I deal with a lot of stress, and of course, as we get older, we just want to make sure that we're taking care of our physical health, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's going to the gym. Just those little small things that I think some people take for granted until they go to the doctor. It's like, hey, look, I'm diabetic. I didn't want to be in situations of saying like, hey, you got to do this to fix this. You know, once I was able to go ahead, like I said, managing gyms, being able to transition to keep up with the consistency and keeping up with the balance. Before when I was managing gyms, I was working out 6 days a week. Of course, the goals change. I'm working out 4 days a week. I'm getting older. I got to make sure to keep up with my strength and keep up with the longevity aspect of everything. 4 days a week. 4 days a week has been good enough for me not only help build my muscle, but also recovery. And finding multiple ways to recover as I get older, it just makes things more balanced for me.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And they say most muscle is gained during the recovery phase rather than the workout phase. But we do have a segment, and I think that leads really well into this segment that we call Pro Advice. And for Pro Advice, we actually ask our audience to send us submissions to ask you some questions. So first submission to Pro Advice reads, I've been really trying to gain some muscle, but it hasn't been going well for me. Is there something I could be missing in my diets or lifts?
First person I'll ask is how often are they actually exercising? What's their goals? What is their, like, everybody's nutrition is not going to be the same. Not everybody has time to even eat the food that they eat. What is your occupation that might hinder you from actually getting into your goals? I know for me at one point, I was working high, intense warehouse work. So at that age, I'm doing a lot of movement. So even the weight that I was trying to gain, I was losing it because you're dealing in a warehouse environment. So think about certain elements like that to keep weight on, so you can put muscle on. You're going to need a little bit of fat to build a little bit of muscle.
That makes a lot of sense in terms of what are you actually doing? So keeping that in mind. The second submission of Pro Advice reads, I really want to start training for a fitness competition, but I don't know where to start. What do you recommend I start doing first?
let me take it from bodybuilding and powerlifting. If you're thinking about fitness competition, either or, go to a bodybuilding or go to a powerlifting competition first to see what you're expecting. Ask questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question. I know from a powerlifting perspective, I went to multiple gyms that are more promoting to that compared to the commercial gym that only has a certain amount of equipment. So you get a feel of what type of people you're going to be dealing with, what competition you're going to be dealing with, weight classes, what equipment are you going to be using for that perspective. Same thing with bodybuilding. Get to talk to pros who've done more than one show. How are you able to cut weight? What are the judges looking for your particular physique? What amount of time do you have for yourself so you can go ahead and not only learn from different people, but there's more stuff you well around to help you to your goal.
No, that makes a lot of sense, and I guess there's lots of different types of fitness competitions. As you talked about the physique, that's basically judged by others. I guess there are some other fitness competition where you actually have to be fit to some of the the CrossFit games or some of those aspects. Now, is that something that you've gotten into? I know you said Spartan race, and that's a little bit more of a CrossFit-esque exercise style. Is that something you've been looking at? Have you exercised in that area? What have you done, or what do you enjoy other than lifting really, really heavy?
Anything that has fitness related stuff, I'm pretty more game with. I've done multiple Spartan races before, whether it's me being at 1 or me being at 230. Two different realms in that case. So if you ever want to do one in that case, I'll tell you, it's two different worlds and being prepared for that. Of course, I've been looking out for, just seeing what fits best for my schedule. So plan for that. CrossFit, not as much. I respect it. I understand it. But there's things that might not be best for me. There's also this particular restaurant that I've been checking out too. That's in my area to even do things like that. At 36 years old, I want to do what's going to be best for me and benefit for my body and be realistic and set goals from there. I'm very smart and make sure about once I sign up for something that I stick to, but preparation is key for me.
And that makes a lot of sense. Now, it's oftentimes what we see is that, that commitment of that action of I sign up, I'm ready, that plays a big role. But as you said, I think it's good to experience different types of these events. I call them events, CrossFit, whether it's CrossFit, whether it's Spartan race. I've done one Spartan race. I've done a Tough Mudder. Very different from the approach. But I enjoyed both of them. Now, how, as you've managed multiple gyms, you've been in the gym culture for quite a while now. What has changed over the last years in gym culture, and where do you see it going?
Gym culture changed a lot. I remember working at my first gym and seeing how people was willing to go for money for personal training. Of course, from the COVID restrictions, they're not even. So one of the things that I think I've seen from the outside looking in, or what value is being brought to a gym to keep people to keep going. There's a lot of people that build time and they really haven't gone back to sign up for a gym membership. I just hope that whatever they bought in their home gym that they're still using and it's not collecting dust. But as for the gym culture, there's more of the social media aspect too. Or back when I first started, that just started coming out. So there's a lot of times, a lot of things that you were scratching and crawling to find different sources of information. Now it's basically right at your fingertips. So seeing that come into play is very interesting because I'm the type of person like going to school. You're writing your rough draft, and you scrap your pen, and then you write your final copy, you type in it. Now I'm using a pencil and pen. So there's people that are actually used to finding all their information in social media, which is a good thing, but it also could be a bad thing depending on what information you're actually looking at and finding actual, feasible, realistic, and honest information. And plus, two, not knock down your self-esteem. You know, all things out there that you're that keep you up, keep you compared to that's just making you frustrated. You're trying to understand what that person is, what they could be living a lie too. So
Yeah, I can see that. Now, there's a lot of information out there. There's also a lot of bad information out there, and it becomes important to filter. I think now the social media culture in terms of showing off and taking pictures of your progress, obviously that can be really beneficial because I think people want to share and people get positive reinforcement from their peers and so on. But they're also like, I see a lot of people sitting in a gym taking 20 selfies and basically taking so much time of social, on basically spending more of their time on social media in the gym than almost at training. Have you witnessed some of those aspects in terms of showing off and using social media and using fitness to really promote yourself?
I'm all for keeping up with progress, pictures, form technique. When it gets to the point that, all right, you don't want stuff to be viral, you know, by all means, it's good to have fun, but let it be beneficial for the person because sometimes people from the outside looking in may not understand what's going on. You know, me personally, I know for me, I'm more so strictly upon building my brand, building a good rapport with the companies that I work with, past and present, and showing progress of actual lifts that I do on a regular basis. That's my big thing about it, especially with the way that I manage my social media. I keep it more fitness related, very rare off the personal aspect. But I think that I try to post more positive stuff. There's enough negative stuff out there, so I like to keep my stuff pretty positive, pretty straightforward. And you never know who can actually be looking at it.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of inspiration that really comes from athletic pictures and people sharing the progress. And I know you're doing an awesome job in keeping us in the loop with on your socials with your upgrade, with your progress, with some lifting techniques and so on. I've seen one of your pictures you shared. One of the points, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's using the chains for the bench press. And I'm like, actually, that's a really good idea. I may want to try that. So, there's been a lot that we can see from athletes sharing on social, and I think it's important for followers to get inspiration. Someone, as you said, you're really pushing the limits with your Guinness World Record. I mean, we need those type of role models in a way that can share and that can show us what we can do, what the human body is really capable of doing. Now, is there a role model that you had when you got into the gym or when you grew up who inspired you?
Fitness related, not necessarily. I know as a kid, I always like watching wrestling as a kid, so I still watch wrestling to this day. So seeing people withstand the amount of bumps and withstand the amount of wear and tear in their body on a regular basis, and seeing some of my wrestlers growing up to now, it's like, okay, now I know why he has messed up hip. Now I know why he has a messed up back, because back in the day when I was seeing everything I was seeing, like, oh, that's why you are the way that you are right now. So it's interesting to see that, but being able to actually go ahead and stick with any type of fitness program, I tell anybody, you know, just it's one thing saying it, but once you go ahead and do it, just make sure you have the right support around you. You do your research. You train what's going to be best for you. Everybody's going to be different.
And we did have we had two wrestlers on here before on the show before, and the amount, as you said, the amount of wear and tear, actually literally tear, that their body goes through is absolutely incredible. So shout out to our wrestling community here and all that you're enduring. So I wouldn't want to do it, but there's definitely they're going through a lot. So I can absolutely see that. Now the last part you mentioned also in terms of make sure to get advice, to seek advice, to basically work with professionals. And that's something that you are also doing on whether it's a SPRTER app or you really are someone who gives back and also who's a personal trainer who has gone through that process. Working with clients, providing some insights, whether it's nutrition, all of those different aspects. So all of our audience, make sure to check out Herbert online there, whether it's on the SPRTER app, connect with him. He's got some awesome insights, and whether it's from nutrition as well as the lifting aspect. So keep that in mind. I totally agree. Work with professionals. It's your health, and it's important to do it right. Now, is there something I want to be cognizant of your time? Really appreciate the insights you provided today.
Look, man, like I said, I let this time open just so, you know, not only get on your platform, but also get on my platform. Very rare I get to talk like this. So, by all means, it's like actually a different aspect that's out of the norm.
Then I want to follow up with one more. If I get the opportunity, I will. Now, do you have your sights set on any other world record, Guinness World Record, or King of Searchers, as I said, it's a pretty good name. But is there something else that you're looking for at the moment?
As for Guinness, people ask me if someone was to break the record tomorrow, will you go for it again? Of course. Okay. I encourage anybody that wants to go ahead and break the record, go ahead. Please do it, by all means. It gives me something else to work for. You know, once you go over, get it, like I said, it's behind me. You have that in your hands. You're basically looking for what's the next thing that you want to look for. Of course, people want to ask me if I'm going to do powerlifting. Of course. What if I'm going to do it at 220 or 242? That's a whole different story. By all means, after COVID got lifted and everything like that, I'm just happy to actually enjoy lifting. So it as like, okay, I'm just going for walks in the park. So to be able to enjoy like that, I don't regret it at all. I just want to make sure I'm building my body and just keeping up with everything. So I'm not only physically prepared, but also mentally prepared of what's going to be my next thing. I'm an open guy when it comes to sports. So there's so many things nowadays that can keep up with the physical aspect. It's just like, hey, Herb, have you ever even tried out doing this before? And the best thing I can say is like, let me see what it's about and go from there. Like, I'm pretty much open game with that. Other world records. Perform the best in my weight class or whatever I do.
All right. That sounds like that's one thing that we generally say is whatever you do, be the best you can. I think that's really a good approach. You mentioned just one aspect, and that we haven't touched yet, but I really want to follow up on it. The mental side. How do you prepare mentally, whether it's a world record, or how do you keep, I guess, your mental health in check?
Just like with days like this, there's days like I go to work, but at the same time I take a day off, and I literally call it a mental health Monday. You know, now sometimes it doesn't always have to be to the gym. It could be just go out to your favorite place, spend time with your family. I think sometimes we're so much on the go. We just want to go. We just want to keep going somewhere. We're stuck. Take a little time for yourself to actually enjoy the little things in life. That stuff like that keeps up with my saying. As for lifting, being aware of my surroundings, keeping myself safe, knowing when I'm approaching something that it is dangerous, risky, but at the same time, it's being well prepared of what I'm going to be doing, and don't take it for granted. I think there's a lot of times when we're at the gym and we're working on a lighter set. Sometimes the lighter sets can be the ones that hurt us, and actually in the heavier sets because you're not approaching in the proper way mentally. That person, like, some people look at me like, yo, you're not having no music in your ears while you're working out? It's like, no, I want to be able to hear my surroundings. I'm able to go ahead and do what I need to do. Some people are looking, but I need to go ahead and physically do it. So it's more making sure that I do the little things right, making sure that everything's set right, making sure whatever safeties that I have and whatever weight that's on that bar, that I do it to the best of my ability that has come out unscathed.
No music. I'm a no music lifter as well, and people look at me and like, "What's wrong with you?" But now I have an excuse. I didn't think about it before, but now I have an excuse. And I quote you. I say, "The king of searchers recommends no music." That's what I'm going with. So this is awesome. I really appreciate your time. Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you really feel like this is what the world needs to know? Whether it's about you, whether it's about training, fitness, motivation, anything that you want to give to the next generation of athletes or other athletes in general?
My best advice is more so if you're going to do something, go ahead and do it. Don't let nobody hold you back. If you have a goal set in mind, just make sure that you hold yourself accountable for it. Write it down. Break down what you need to do to get to that goal. What pieces and what aspects are going to help you that might either get to the goal or prevent you, separate the two, and just keep on going and keep on pushing, driving. I know sometimes I get annoyed with time that they might have, so keep that keep that in the back of my mind. But if you really want to go, do this. You know what you want in life, so.
That's very good advice. I appreciate it. And I think that's really good advice, whether it's for lifting or for any other life advice, not just athletic career advice, life advice. Very much appreciate that. All of our audience, make sure to connect with Herbert on the SPRTER app, on all of the socials. We'll link him out. Check out his experience store on the SPRTER app. He's got some awesome experiences there that you can book to further connect with him. And we wish you all the best. We're excited for the next where there's competition. I'm always excited to see your updates. And I appreciate you being part of the SPRTER family. And thanks for joining our podcast today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's been great connecting. Have an awesome day.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye.